G'day, family. I don't know if this is going to make people happy or not. I notice subscribers are going down again over the last couple of days, and I haven't even put out a video. That suggests to me that people need to have more regular updates. I don't know. I mean, subscribing is about spreading seeds. I don't know why people seem to jump on the ship and off the ship all the time. But anyway, I'm going to come on briefly now and just give you an update where I think we're at. Hopefully it won't displease people. I was never down with the difference between the Julian and the Gregorian calendar and that changing the date of Feast of Trumpets, to be honest with you, but because it's on our timeline, being the end of Sukkot on the static calendar, or being the beginning of it, I extended my watch through to the end of Sukkot for several reasons. Some of those were based on what the moon will be doing at that particular time. So that's where my watch finished. But Mike and I did a bit of work on, I guess, more than just Mike and I. Mike sort of presented me with information and then varying other people with the same information, and we sort of researched it and came up with the conclusion that the Feast of Dedication, well, the Feast of Hanukkah that everybody believes was going on when Jesus turned up in the midst of the feast, wasn't actually Hanukkah. It was Tabernacles, I believe. So it's a nice 7-day feast to turn up in the midst of. So to be honest with you, my next high watch date is, given that we have passed the start of Sukkot and the midpoint on both the Essene and the static calendar, we are now looking at potentially the midpoint of Sukkot on the Hebrew calendar, or the end, or anywhere in between, I guess. But I'm not looking for sunset on, I guess the date everybody's looking for is sunset on the 9th. Would that be right? They moved the 23rd and 24th to the 7th and 8th, I think, didn't they? So starting sunset on the 7th, and then sunset on the 8th would be the second day, sunset on the 9th would be the sunset on the 8th would be the first day, sunset on the 9th would be the second day. Is that where people are looking to finish Feast of Trumpets? I'm not sure what they've done, to be honest with you, with this move of the Julian Gregorian calendar date. So where that puts us, I'm not sure. I think, though, by sunset on the 9th, we could finally put to bed all the Feast of Trumpets, Joshua moving the date and all that sort of stuff. We could put that to bed by sunset on the 9th, I'd say. Now, if it is, in fact, in the midst of the Feast of Tabernacles, Sukkot, and that starts at sunset on October 6th. So 3 days later, so 1 day, so we've got sunset October 7th, 8th, 9th, there's your 3 days. Now, in the midst, 84 hours we're looking at, so we'd be looking at morning time on the 10th in Israel, if it was in the midst of Tabernacles. Have to work that out based on where sunset is on the 9th and add 12 hours to that to give you what time of the morning in Israel. But I think we need to probably move on. I notice there's still some big channels that are doing big lives, and highly expectant of the end. Must be the end of Feast of Trumpets now, because I mean, the start of that's passed, so it can't be the beginning. And, you know, Feast of Trumpets and Rosh Hashanah, the head of the year never got moved, and Feast of Trumpets shouldn't be a 2-day feast anyway, so, you know, we're really stretching things. But, you know, I've never ever professed to be correct with all of this stuff, so, you know, I'm giving grace and accepting that I could be wrong, and watching to those dates. But you know, by sunset on the 9th, we've got to put that Feast of Trumpets thing to bed. We can then look the next day, but it's not, you know, moving the goalposts. It's simply because I'm not even considering the Feast of Trumpets and that 14-day move. I'm looking at the midpoint of Sukkot, and I certainly won't be adding 14 days to the current dates for Sukkot, etc., for some sort of reconciliation between the Gregorian and the Hebrew calendars. So, you know, this is where I'm seeing Sukkot is right now. We've passed the start of on the static calendar and the Essene calendar, and we've passed the midpoint of both of those as well. So we're now here on the Hebrew calendar. I'm looking at Sukkot. I'm looking at the midst of Sukkot, being the morning of the 10th. At some point, you'd have to have a look on time and date and see when the sun sets on the 9th, and then add 12 hours to that for the 84 hours in total, 3.5 days. But believe me, I do not intend to do any Julian Gregorian calendar date recycling. I was never down with that anyway, to be honest with you, and I'm not. I hope people don't jump ship just because I say that. The reason that, you know, I was still looking at October was not because I was adding 14 days to the 23rd and the 24th of September. It was because I was looking at tabernacles, both on the static, which started on the 13th, the Essene, which started on the 1st of October, and now on the Hebrew calendar, as you can see, starts on sunset 6th, so it's underway. So I was, as I said, not moving goalposts. I was playing a completely different game. I was playing soccer and I was playing footy, Aussie rules footy. So this is where I'm looking at. Of course, I'm not discounting the fact that we still have people looking at Feast of Trumpets coming up, ending soon, because it's on the timeline and it's within these feasts that I'm currently looking at. But my reasons now are because, personally, Tabernacles has always been the feast, to me, with the most typology for rapture. I mean, 7-day feast, we're in heaven for 7 years with the Lord, tabernacling with God, you know, outside of our normal home, which is what the huts were about, outside of their normal homes, you know, and you could see through, you had to be able to see through the top of them, like, you know, sort of representative of heaven, being able to see heaven. Well, you know, with the rapture, we're going to be with Jesus for 7 years, and we're going to be in heaven. We're certainly going to be able to see it, and we're not going to see it through a glass darkly or through a thatched roof, you know. We're not going to see it in part. We will be there with the King, changed, sinless, glorified because of his works, not ours. So guys, keep focused. The watch continues, as I said, till, for me, sort of sunset on the 13th of October, ending Sukkot on the Hebrew calendar. Nothing to do with trumpets or reconciliation of 14 days, Julian Gregorian difference, etc., etc. So God bless it. We could go at any moment, family. I know Mike's just put out a video. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. So I'm going to race over and watch that myself now, see what he's looking at, whether he's potentially looking at midpoint of Sukkot or another date. But we will keep you up to date, guys. We're definitely close. I mean, look at the world signs. They are absolutely off the charts. And I mean, there's conspiracy around everything. There's even conspiracy around these asteroids and what information we're getting from the varying space agencies that you can't trust anyway. Government shutdowns, nuclear weapons getting moved all over the place, Tomahawk missiles, and Donald Trump, changes in the weather, signs in the heavens, earthquakes in diverse places, ethnos against ethnos, nation against nation. What don't we see would be an easier question to ask, and because the answer to that is everything's in place. There's nothing that we don't see that we should be seeing. We're ready to fly, guys, so stay focused. Don't let dates bother you. Don't worry about recycling Julian calendars, etc. We know we're close. We believe it has to be this year. Tabernacles is a great feast as far as I'm concerned. So stay focused. God bless. And remember, if you want to go in this rapture, understand and know in your heart that you are a dirty, rotten sinner and that nothing you have done qualifies you to go to heaven. Confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and God. Believe in your heart that he was willingly crucified. He rose from the dead on the third day under his own power, defeating death, sin, and the grave. And he did that for you because there is no other way that you could get to heaven other than believing that in your heart, because one sin separates you from God, and we've all committed one sin. And the problem with sin is you can't unsin. It's a bit like when you say something nasty. If your foot slips, you can regain your balance. But if your tongue slips, you can't take back your words. And sin is exactly the same. God bless, family. Keep watching. Give it all to Jesus. He is the only one that saves you. Amen.